Hello and welcome to the United Stand. A disappointing result against Newcastle at the weekend has again opened up that Pandora's box of what is Manchester United's identity, how do we sort these issues out going forward. And I would like to offer up two scenarios for you. One, what if Manchester City or Liverpool were to win the Champions League playing the football they are playing at the moment? How do you think that impacts on Manchester United and Mourinho if one of our big rivals go and win the biggest prize in football, playing good football, whilst we battle to whatever we're going to battle to this season playing the way we are? And two, after 18 months, we've got no identity at Manchester United. I think it's the common theme that many Manchester United fans would agree on. What if we do have an identity and we are just being ignorant and stubborn towards it, and that identity we have is Mourinho's identity of keeping things tight at the back and grinding out results? What if that is the identity? Because I find it hard to believe that 18 months in to Mourinho's reign that we are lumbering from game to game with no idea what we're doing. So maybe that is it. Maybe that line that Mourinho said yesterday, that Newcastle's result was a beautiful football result, which effectively was grind out a result and defend well. Will that ever fit in with United? I don't think so. But let's have a quick look first before we look at the bigger picture at what went wrong this weekend against Newcastle. And this was the lineup. This was the lineup that we used. So yeah, the 4-2-3-1 as we know. Martial out on that right hand side and Sanchez on the left. Lingard at 10, Lukaku up front, Matic and Pogba. So if anyone dares to look back, what happened with Manchester United is that Newcastle did play, that's not a straight line, quite a high line. Probably a little bit higher than that. And they pressed. They pressed in these areas and they forced us back. And they forced Lingard back as well into that area. And that left us quite exposed in the first 10 to 15 minutes. Now, Matic is struggling at the moment. Pogba's struggling. He's just more high profile. Matic is struggling at the moment. And it was an interesting discussion on the Sunday night last night about the light. Basically, Matic is a poor man's Carrick when Carrick was good. And there are definite similarities there. When Matic gets pressed around these areas, he struggles. He's looking for a pass. It's normally a backwards pass. He certainly isn't looking for a forward pass. And he is getting pressed. And that is a problem for United. Pogba, as we know, is going back form at the moment. And then, as we said last week on that show, these four players are redundant because we are not finding them from these areas and not fast enough from those areas as well. And that is where Manchester United really have struggled. We did sort of move it around better after the first 10 to 15 minutes, and we did move more up to this end of the pitch with people like Lukaku, obviously Sanchez, Martial. There was a lot more interchangeability, and we did move more up to this area of the pitch, as I say. And we were better. The possession stats show that. There was a lot better interchanging between these three. And but this guy again, Lukaku, he's not getting the chances created for him, and that is a big issue for Manchester United, as we know. How does Mourinho solve it? Well, I don't think necessarily that Mourinho does want to solve it. When I think about it, I don't think that he does. I think that, as I show you this chance here, it was something like this. So Matic, lovely ball into Martial. He runs into this area here, and this is where Martial goes wrong. So the keeper's this guy here. Martial gets to around here and he goes to try and beat him on that post. To score from that angle with your right foot isn't as easy. And this is where, for me, Martial is having a bit of a nightmare at the moment, because he's not getting the opportunity that he needs to have in relation to playing off that left-hand side. I'm trying to get it back here. So if Martial had been in this situation here, as a right footer, you can go near post and you can accurately go across. Not a problem. But from this situation, as a right footer here, as he was, or more about here, he tries to go for the bottom corner there because the keeper's in that position. But to go across there, it's not so easy as a right footer. It favours the left footer to curl it in that way or put it into the near post. And that, again, is an issue in relation to Anthony Martial and his positioning. Everyone wants to get on Martial's back. I thought he played quite well yesterday. But he's playing on a side that's just not his side. And people say, well, he's a right footer, he can play down the right wing. Yeah, of course he can. He can play that way. And I thought he played really well in the first half. But you put him in that situation, and finishing wise, he's got to go near post, because going far post is not as accurate. Whereas if you're coming in there, You can get it in there with a bit of a curl, take it away from the keeper to curl it in, or you can do them with the eyes and go that way. And that's what Martial's been doing all season, not from that right-hand side, which has been a problem for him. Another thing with Manchester United that really confuses me is that when we look at this game yesterday, where did Manchester United struggle? We know we struggled in this area, the midfield. We had a lot of possession, but we know we struggled in this area because Matic and Pogba, who cost £130 million combined, if you're bothered about money, they came off. They were taken off for a 36-year-old Carrick and a kid in McTominay. So the creativity from the midfield, if your midfield's dead, your team's dead. And with 20 minutes to go, Newcastle get that goal. With 20 minutes to go, we didn't really create anything. And you could tell that Mourinho was crying out to bring Fellaini on so he could put him here and just hit long balls from here and here. And it would have been route one, but it might have been successful. But this is where I think Manchester United are struggling in relation to Mourinho's ideology and Manchester United fans and their way. We're not... The plan in Mourinho's head to make Manchester United successful may not be to make Manchester United entertaining, and that is where the problem is. And it is always going to be compounded by the fact that you do have big rivals like Man City and Arsenal playing good football, and even Spurs. They're not big rivals, but they're playing good football. The theme for this season, I would say, is fast attacking football, and we are not at that party, and that is annoying and ultimately quite frustrating. For some United fans at the moment. I mentioned it last night and I didn't actually answer it. I was asked at the start of the season by a few fans, like, what would you choose? Would you choose finishing second and playing really good football? Or would you choose first place and grinding out 1-0s every week? And obviously I said, well, obviously I'm going to grind out the results because it's really important that Manchester United win a Premier League title sometime in the next couple of years, because otherwise we're getting close to 10 years without a title and you start to become Liverpool or Arsenal. But I don't deal in absolutes, and I think actually if we were playing good football, if you play good football, you win the league. So I don't like that scenario of, well, what would you rather do? Play badly and win the league, or play well and come second? All right, you can create that scenario if you want, but the reality is if you play well, you're going to win the league. That's what's going to happen. If you're playing really great football, you're going to have a better chance of winning the league. But also, as time's gone on, I think playing good football in this league is not impossible, and Manchester United should be, for many years Manchester United's been the team that's always been associated with good football, and we need to get back to that. And Mourinho's got a massive 6 months. I back Mourinho, everybody knows I do, but my confidence in whether he can achieve what he wants to achieve, because it's not easy. The challenge against Man City especially is a very difficult one, but we've got to play good football, because if we're going to have to be patient, and it's going to be a long process. In fact, it's one thing being patient, but it's another thing being patient and watching bad football. And I think that is the problem that Manchester United have at the moment. In relation to Paul Pogba, I'm going to defend Mourinho on this. I think a lot of people are trying to say that Pogba is being disrupted because we're not doing this. We're not playing that 4-3-3, and it wouldn't be Lingard, but in that position, Pogba can get back and forward with another player with the security of that player. I agree. There's a mistake on Mourinho's part. In the summer, in January, we went and bought this guy to put him on the left wing when we already had the best player in the league for me out there anyway. So we've now disrupted this guy, our best player, to bring in this guy who's new, and it's taken him time to adapt. So we've screwed up our wing, which was a mistake. Should have just put Sanchez here or here and kept Martial consistently playing as well as he was there, and allowed Sanchez to adapt to the team in a position where we need him. But more importantly, we could have gone to this triangle of a midfield three. We didn't. We didn't buy a midfielder. We didn't buy a midfielder, even though this guy's been out of form for 3 months. We know if this guy plays badly or is injured, we're in trouble. Fellaini, we didn't know he was going to be injured, but is he good enough? Carrick's been out for most of the season, he's 36. Herrera's not been good this season, and McTominay's a kid. I struggle to see why we didn't go and buy a midfielder. It's clearly the issue. And yesterday we had Carrick and McTominay to try and get us back in the game because Matic and Pogba let us down. It was a mistake. But on relation to Paul Pogba, I'm sure in a midfield three, it'd be great. I'm sure he would. I'm sure that's the way to go for Pogba. But at the moment, whether he's playing here, in this position, or even if he's playing here, 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 or here, or even here, or here, Paul Pogba is meant to be a world-class talent. And wherever Paul Pogba plays, he's still quick, he's still good at running with the ball, he's got a good passing range, he's physical. Paul Pogba should be able to play well in any position. Of course he's going to have a better position, But if we're going to make excuses about Paul Pogba can only play well in a midfield three, then Paul Pogba's not world class. He's far from it. If Paul Pogba's defined by one position, then Paul Pogba's got a problem. Paul Pogba should be able to play well in any position. And yes, I'm sure he can play better in the midfield three than he can in the midfield two, but he still shouldn't be terrible in a midfield two. He should still be able to impose himself in the game, because that's what top class players do. So Pogba's got to look at himself as much as we've all got to say the formation's got to change to adapt him. He's meant to be one of the best players in the world, and at the moment he can't play in the midfield too, and he needs to sort that out. So there's your tactical analysis from the weekend. Went off on a few bigger tangents, but the reality is Newcastle, like most teams, they just did this. 2 lines of 4. You're always going to get back into position against Manchester United because we're too slow from here to here and from here to here. We're too slow at getting the ball from the back to the front or from the midfield to the front. And by the time these 3 get it, there's already 2 banks of 4 in front of them, which for Martial and Sanchez is a challenge they can do. But for Lingard, who likes to spin and run at a back 4, he can't do it. And he becomes ineffective. And Lingard was very ineffective yesterday. Martial and Sanchez, we both know they missed very, very good chances that probably would have won us the game. But ultimately, I still think we would have been saying that performance is poor. We're still not moving the ball from back to front quick enough, which we're not. We allow teams to get into positions very, very quickly. And if I come up this end of the pitch yesterday, this is a Southampton-Liverpool game. 2 defenders, 3 attackers. They're in all sorts of trouble. Ball comes into Firmino, passes it home. When do United ever stretch teams? Very, very rarely. Other teams do, because from here to here, it's quick. It's quick. It's always quick. There's quick balls, there's running, there's movement, and it's quick. We're not quick enough. Is that our identity? That's what I leave you with. Whilst we as United fans, and even the press, say, what is United's identity after 18 months? They still don't know their best 11. They don't seem to play in a certain way. What if we do? What if our identity is already there? What if this is the Mourinho way? Grinding out results, strong at the back, no real rhythm in the team. Maybe, is that the way? Is it not? Get comments below, give us your thoughts, and remember 8 o'clock tonight we're live with Skype Goldbridge. Thanks for watching. Please do drop a like if you like this type of video, because we can do it after every game if you want, after a 24 hours sort of calm down. Let us know, drop a like, and I'll speak to you all later at 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching.